For me, it wasn't a heavenly being that gave me hope when I was falling on the verge of falling into despair. It was a woman in Panera, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, when my now 12-year-old was a baby, when she was about 9 months, she got RSV. It's a virus we hear a lot about today, but it was new to me back then. RSV is a respiratory illness that inhibits a person's ability to breathe, and it's extraordinarily dangerous for babies. As her illness progressed, for days I didn't sleep. I rocked her back and forth, keeping her upright on my chest so that she could breathe, keeping the humidifier a constant in her room. I smelt like Vicks Vapor Rub and baby boogers, and I'm pretty sure, looked like a zombie in dirty pajamas. And I would sing to her a hymn from my tradition, that goes, "When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. And when I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love." And as I waited for her next breath, I would find myself holding my own breath. Time and is an eternity of undying hope in those moments when you wait for a loved one's next breath. After a few trips to the pediatrician and then to the ER, we found ourselves at the asthma and allergy doctor, and I thought relief was in sight. I went home with a treatment plan and a nebulizer and just the tiniest bit of hope that this nightmare was ending. But that evening, the coughing continued. It was heart wrenching, lung racking coughing. And we made it through the night, counting down the hours between nebulizer treatments until I could call the doctor's office at 7 a.m. So at 7 a.m., I call the doctor, and the receptionist says, "I'll have a phone nurse call you back." Oh, okay, that's cool. I think to myself, cool, cool, cool. 7 a.m. or I'll get a call back. Okay. 7:01. Okay, this is good. 7:02. Phone nurse, gonna call me back. Finally, 7:05, I get a call back. "Hi, Mrs. Edwards," she says. "This is the phone nurse, Hope." Her name was Hope. John Pavlovitz, the author of Low Advent and Honest Advent devotional, says, "Life comes with the collateral damage of living, with failed plans and relational collapse, with internal struggle and existential crises. And we carry all of these things with us into this season." And the good news is that we don't need to discard our messiness to step into this season. And we couldn't, even if we wanted to, he says. Bring every bit of your flawed self and your chaotic circumstances to this day, to this beginning of Advent. Welcome the mess. You see, hope is not a saccharine and tidy experience. Hope is gritty and tear stained. Hope is the dirty fingernails of a farmer planting a seed, even though there was a drought last year. Hope is the weary gait and worn work boots of a parent who is coming home from their second job to make sure that their kid can go to school with a full belly. Hope is the flowers we put in the windowsill of a beloved person who may never get better. Hope is the righteous anger of those screaming and pleading for a ceasefire. Hope is desperate and tenacious and stubborn and courageous. And hope is hard to find when you're in the mess. When you lose hope, and it is when, not if, when you lose hope and you're numb and you have nothing left, it's okay. That is why we are in community with each other. That is why we are not on this earth alone. Even when we feel lonely, if you look, hope will find its way to you. Also says, all of our relationships can be understood in the intersections. The places that our road meets another person, and both stories are rewritten, sometimes wonderfully. And each of us is a product of these many crossings. So I wish I could tell you that after we found the phone nurse named Hope, all of our baby's respiratory problems went away. And sadly, we spent the next 2 years on a roller coaster of viruses and bacterial infections that most kids could fight off. But with our little one, it would result in frequent visits to the ER in the dead of night. So one morning, as my 2-year-old and I were coming home from the ER, I decided to stop at Panera. Remember that image that I painted earlier of a zombie in dirty PJs? Now imagine her, 2 years older and 2 years more tired, with a toddler on her hip. So as I step inside the line, a woman just comes up to me out of nowhere, and with no apology or preamble, she just says, "Excuse me, God wanted me to tell you that she's going to be okay." And then she walked away. That was it. God wanted me to tell you that she's going to be okay. There was no proselytizing, no pamphlet about how I could be saved, no prayer beyond her simple words. And she was gone before I could even say thank you. With her words, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. God wanted me to know that she was going to be okay. God, one name for the unnameable source of all love, wanted my child to know that they were going to be okay. Her words from the heart filled me with a hope I had almost forgotten existed. And in this darkest time of year, in these times of war and crisis, hope is not going to be found in material gifts and neon lights. Hope will come from each other, from the intersections where our paths cross. Hope will come from each of us seeing the humanity, and each of us preparing for a bold and glorious future with peace and joy and love. May it be so.